Conor Garland, I hope you like Ohio, buddy. Take a look at this. Conor Garland has been traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets. The return is a second and a third. The second round pick is in 2028. The third round pick is in 2026. And honestly, I feel like for the majority of Canucks fans, you could look at a Garland trade like this, and you can say, damn, we didn't get much for this guy. And yeah, I do think that Conor Garland, when he plays his best, when he has himself a night, Conor Garland is more valuable than a second and a third. I mean, back-to-back 40 to 50 point seasons with the Canucks. This year, he kind of stalled a little bit point production-wise ever since the Quinn Hughes trade came and went. But Conor Garland has been a model of consistency in this Vancouver organization the past few years, from his very first season with the team post-OEL trade to what he was able to do with Dakota Joshua and Teddy Bluger, getting 20 goals for the first time as a Canuck in 23-24. He combined with Dakota Joshua for some amazing highlights, and it was so impactful, the level of commitment Conor Garland would demonstrate on the ice, with forechecking, with puck protection, with his little spins, with his annoying of Nathan MacKinnon. Was that as a Canuck? I don't think so. I don't remember. But Conor Garland was a very beloved Vancouver Canuck, and now he's gone. A second and a third. No salary retention on the trade either. Turns out, Columbus was the team that was super invested out of all of them to go out there and make things work. And I just wonder, I really wonder. Reports out of Stefan Rosner and the New York Islanders beat were that the Islanders didn't want to give up what the Canucks were asking for in a Garland trade. But the actual trade that goes down, it's a second and a third. What the hell? Like, is that what Vancouver was really asking for this guy? Is that the going rate for a player who was on pace for 37 points in a down year? He's 29 years old. Yeah, I know he's small. 5'8", 181, right-handed guy. But still, like, when I think of what Conor Garland is, even though he hasn't been great this season, I'm still like, yeah, that guy's probably better than a second and a third, right? Kiefer Sherwood got 2 seconds. And Cole Clayton. So are you saying that Sherwood is more valuable than Garland here? Now, I understand that there can also be another element that Columbus could have used to bring the price down. It is the fact that Garland's 6-year contract extension, which is already in there, kicks in on July 1st, and the fact that he would have had full trade protection by the time that contract kicks in. It gave Vancouver a timeline. It gave them a little bit of a setback because it was like, all right, well, yeah, we know that if we don't make this trade with you, Columbus, we're going to have to hold on to this guy. And that's dangerous for us because by the time the next contract that he is on kicks in, if he wants to get traded, then we have no choice but to listen to him and his demands, and we can only trade him to where he wants to go, which significantly reduces our leverage. But even at that point, like, if Conor Garland stayed with the Vancouver Canucks and he inevitably requested a trade to a very specific team, he only had one team, wouldn't you assume Conor Garland could get more than a second and a third? I don't know, man. I'm feeling a little bit cheesed on this trade. Just want to go out there and see what some of the other folks are saying about it, too. Which tweet here has the most replies? Not the Elliot Friedman one. It doesn't have the return. All right, here we go. Rick Dollywall. Second and a third. Let's go out there and read. Alistair says, for all the people crying about it not being enough, Garland is an undersized winger on a pretty brutal season for his standards. 4 months from now, he'll have a no-move clause with full control of his destination. This is what rebuilding is, and it's a fine deal. More of it, please. And, I do think that this is a very reasonable way to combat the notion that Garland got traded for maybe a little too little. It's the fact that Columbus, they're taking on a risk here. They're trading for a guy who was locked in 6x6 with trade protection at probably the lowest point of his career. No? Like, yes, okay, he has had worse seasons in the past. Actually, has he? I don't know. This season he's on pace for 37 points. The only other year where Conor Garland has had fewer than 37 points was his rookie year. 18 points in 47 games played. Okay, so I take that back. This might actually be the worst season of Conor Garland's NHL career. Even these other seasons where Garland was hovering around the same point production, he was at significantly fewer games, so yeah, okay, this legitimately is the worst season of his career in the NHL. And so it is a risk for Columbus to be taking this kind of a player on. He's undersized. Also, with the trade list, it is maybe a lot more of a risk than we would have anticipated. So I do understand this point that Alistair's going out there and making. LOL, but Wah got Toronto a first-round pick. Fire Allvin and Rutherford. Don't you get tired of howling at everything? No move. 30. 6 years left. Complain about everything. That's probably it, eh? That is probably it. I'd think a lot of Canucks fans would immediately, instinctually say that Garland is worth a first. He is worth whatever it is a middle to top 6 caliber forward could get you. But there's a lot of risk attached to it. So I think at this point, I've let the trade settle down, I've mentally processed it, I'm starting to open up to it. And besides, I'm kind of just disappointed, I think. I got my expectations a little too high up there, not necessarily because, first, but I was like, Kent Johnson, bring him over to Vancouver, let's get that connection back, get the BC boys running the town instead. But no, Conor Garland goes for a second and a third rather than any sort of a young guy, a prospect, or whatever. There's a lot to like out of Conor Garland when he's playing his best, but he hasn't been playing his best this season, and he's walking right into full trade protection territory over the next few years. So that's a risk that Columbus is willing to take. And Vancouver, they end up getting a second and a third because of it. What in the world was the gosh darn ask from New York? If Vancouver was apparently asking for too much out of the Islanders, and that the Islanders would not want to have said yes because of it, what exactly were they asking for? Were the Islanders just that much more pessimistic about Garland? Let's say Vancouver asked New York for a second and a third, because that's clearly what would have been able to get it done. And New York was like, no, we're not giving you a second and a third. This guy's got a no-move clause in a few weeks. And he's signed on for 6 years. We'll give you a third max. Is that the way the negotiations might have gone? I don't know. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But Conor Garland, it's been a good one. But on this day, Vancouver, they are starting to make some trades. No more Garland, no more Jet Wu, no more Tyler Myers, no more Quinn Hughes. It's been a pretty interesting year. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.